Hey, everybody. This week, I have a great interview for you. I am interviewing Lucy Smith of ADP. Yes, ADP, the HR platform, the one that the big companies use. Well, apparently, they have a platform that's for us small businesses too. And I'm not just talking small businesses like 50 to 70 people. No, no. I'm talking about solopreneurs, one, two, three employees in your business. During this interview, we talked about how small business owners, we wear all of these hats and we continue on a regular basis to DIY everything. And that's great. We don't knock it. I don't knock it because I do it. But the higher your business goes, the more you're going to have to relinquish some of that control. You're going to need to let some things go. And one of the things you may need to start doing is looking for consultants or vendors or platforms or services that can come into your business and replace you in some of those tasks. And today we're going to be talking about HR and compliance and taxes and those type of tasks that you do on a regular basis that it may be time to let a professional come in and help you. And I can't tell you, I know a lot of small business owners usually don't want to do something like that because of the cost, but you need to think about the cost in terms of time, not necessarily in terms of money. The money's going to come. Your customers are coming through the doors, your clients are coming through the doors. But wouldn't it be nice to ensure that you get that time back, a day, 2 days, 3 days that you're spending on payroll, compliance, insurance, taxes? Wouldn't it be great if you got that time back? Wouldn't it be great if when tax time came around, you weren't stressed out thinking, oh God, I don't know what I'm getting ready to do? Or wouldn't it be wonderful if you knew for a fact that no matter what, your employees are going to get paid and they're going to get paid the proper amounts and on time? Trust me, I fully understand. We do not want to part with our money, but there comes a point in your business when it's time to get a little bit more professional. So sit back, pop some popcorn, grab some coffee, and listen to this interview because Lucy is going to tell you all about a tool, a platform that can assist you and get some time back in your day. Lucy, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I think this is going to be a great episode.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's start with a little bit about you. Can you give me a little background about who you are, what you do, and who you service?
Of course, of course. My name's Lucy. I am originally from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I have to say go heels, even though that might not be the team for some of the viewers. But I moved to New York about a year and a half ago and began working for ADP. I work with a large industry or a large amount of industries, but I work in a small business division. So I service businesses with 1 to 49 employees. Within ADP, we do have teams that help service the larger clients, so above 50, but personally, I'm only 1 to 49. And my actual job title is an account executive. My role is to help business owners optimize their operations by providing them solutions that simplify payroll, simplify HR, make sure they're in compliance and with any benefits administration, whether it's a local boutique or a growing restaurant. I've worked with tech startups. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. I am here to help. I want to take those administrative burdens off your plate and give you time and the energy to be able to put towards growing your business and improving upon your business. So that's a little bit snippet of what I do.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I will say I have worked off and on through my web design, my web development, my digital marketing services. I've worked with small businesses for many years, and I've always been under the idea or assumption that a tool like yours is way too expensive or
Mhm.
something that big companies really need or really have. It's not something for a one-man show, a solopreneur, or somebody that's got two or three different employees within their organization. So when you approached me, I was shocked. I said, okay, so wait a minute, this is what I do? Like, so from your perspective, why are payroll and HR and compliance services so critical for small businesses of our size?
Of course, of course. I am actually so lucky. My father's an entrepreneur. He started Counterculture Coffee out of Durham, North Carolina.
Yes,
So him, I don't know if you're familiar, but
yes,
him
ma'am.
being my role model and also my father, I
Mhm.
have been so lucky to have grown up seeing a business come to life. I was, I think, 2 when he started it, so didn't know what was going on. But as I got older, I shadowed him and I was always interested in what he was doing. I would love to start a business a little bit further along in my career. But one thing I realized, you as a small business owner wear so many hats. You're trying at the end of the day to grow revenue, to market and advertise your business, to take care of your team. And sometimes the critical back office tasks like HR, like payroll, they fall to the bottom of the priority list. Life happens, and usually they stay at the bottom of the list until an issue arises. So that's where we come in. We want you to focus on growing your business. We want you to focus on, the things that you love. You're passionate about this project. You started this business for a reason. Business owners didn't get into this career to run payroll and to manage HR. They got into this career to make money and to follow their passions. So I think that's why, using ADP and having an outside vendor for payroll and HR and these back office tasks is so important at any stage of your business, because it really gets you to take the time to do what you love and not have to focus on these administrative burdens.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a VA, and right now she's a contractor, but I would love to bring her on as an actual employee. And
Mhm.
there are just some, when I think of bringing on employees for those small businesses that may be using vendors. I know a lot of people, especially with their VAs, they're
Mhm.
using contractors. When you bring on an employee, there's some fear there. I'll be
Mhm.
honest with you. I have it in that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what the law is around this. I don't
Mhm.
know how much should I be paying them so that I am paying them a competitive salary. What about insurance?
Mhm.
Medical insurance, dental insurance, that kind of stuff. So
Exactly.
as you're working with small business owners and you're bringing them on, onboarding them, what type of misconceptions have you heard? And then how can you kind of correct those misconceptions for us?
Of course. So you actually brought up 2 misconceptions that I hear almost daily, which is, 1, we're too small, or you service big companies, and 2, you're too expensive. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm in the small business division, and I say 1 to 49, but on average I'm working with businesses with 5 employees. So I understand small businesses, and I actually love when I get those 2 kind of objections or misconceptions, because I know I can prove it wrong both times. I know I can show them and prove to them that there's scalable and affordable options out there. With working in the small business division, I have come to realize that sometimes the smaller businesses need the help the most, but it is intimidating. As you said, hiring employees, you don't know what's going on enough with, or same with compensation, or excuse me, salary benchmarking. You know, we live in a very competitive world. We live in, the industry is always changing, the economy is always changing. How can you be certain that you are giving the right salaries? How can you be certain that you are offering the right benefits? So I think that to reel it in, I think both of those misconceptions are my favorite, because we offer solutions that prove both of those wrong. We never want to lose a client to price. I have my own financial team, which is kind of crazy to say, but I have my own financial team, so that's never an issue. And then we service from 1 to, I think, 1,000 plus employees. So numbers never an issue on price and on employee count.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this then. Have you seen any small businesses actually transform or be able to start saving time based on their time before using your services versus after?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I would like to say I see that every time I support and service a business. I like to say I see them transform. But I think one experience and story that comes in mind, I was helping a restaurant owner who had about 8 employees, and they were doing everything manually in terms of payroll and HR. So they were downloading like verbal agreements and paperwork off of Google and then recording their payroll in Excel. And that just takes up so much time. And I remember when I met with them, it was kind of funny. I sat down with the business owner and he was great. He was cracking jokes and we were having a conversation, and I just kind of asked, like, is payroll something taxing? Like, does payroll take a lot of time? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, so for about 8 employees, your restaurant, so weekly, how many hours a week would you say? And he was like, probably a day. And I kind of looked at him and like laughed a little bit because I thought that he was joking, because we'd been having a very like funny, humorous conversation. I thought he was joking. He was like, is that a long time? And I said, you're spending an entire day doing payroll and HR. And he's like, yeah. And then I remember one time I like made a human error and I had to spend some hours the next day cleaning that up. And so I kind of looked at him and I was like, I'm so glad I'm here, because this can be taken from a day and a half down to 5 minutes with the tools and the solutions we have. And also in terms of the human error, it happens. Everyone's running around, as I said, small business owners wear multiple hats. So we do have AI software embedded into our platform that has a triple check screen when you are running anything. So that payroll error that happened wouldn't happen again, because it's kind of funny. It's a huge, like, the triangle with the exclamation point pops up and it's like, did you mean to do this, in all bold letters? And it kind of scares you because it just pops up on the screen, but it's there to make sure that doesn't happen again. And so we were able to implement all of these systems, get them timekeeping to keep track so we didn't have to use Excel, added on workers' compensation to keep him compliant. Obviously, he uses our payroll system, and he does it every Thursday at like 4:00. It takes him 15 minutes and it's perfect. When he said a whole day, I was like, oh,
a long time. That I can't imagine, especially if, you've got your marketing, which is probably taking 2 or 3 days. God forbid there be any other technical issues where you have to be on with tech support, or you need to try and figure out how to connect this system with this system. So of all the systems that you've seen your small business customers use, what would you say? You mentioned Excel. What are some of the systems that your tool replaces?
Great question. So we like to say we're an all-in-one suite. We're kind of an umbrella. So Excel is a big one. We have our timekeeping. So we have clock in, clock out system, and that's already integrated into your payroll. So that takes away Excel. We also have marketing through Google. So we do have that. So that kind of takes away, like, we have Google ads. So that kind of takes away that burden if you're already optimizing Google ads. We do offer free accounts for LinkedIn and Indeed. So I met with a business owner a couple of weeks ago who he kind of went crazy on ZipRecruiter and then got a like $900 bill because he just didn't realize what he was doing. So we take away that. And then, quarterly and end of year taxes, that's not really a system you use, but that's something that we do ourselves for business owners. So whatever system they have before, we take over that. And then in terms of beyond payroll, workers' compensation, and health and benefits, we become the broker of record for both. So that takes away that as well. We kind of do it all. Not kind of, we definitely do it all.
So you can replace a lot of this, but mainly it sounds like you're giving some of that, not just time, but you're alleviating some of that stress. Because I know come January 1, when the tax man is like, hey, how you doing? I'm ready to pull my hair out. I hate having to pull, and I am a spreadsheet girl. So I hate having to pull all of that stuff down from my credit cards and my bank statements, then to Excel and try and crunch those numbers. And I can't imagine if I also then had payroll that I had to bring in, and, like you said, workers' comp and the insurance and all of that, that is probably a complete nightmare. So the fact that you're able to just alleviate all of that stress in one fell swoop, that kind of makes me a happy camper.
Of course. I mean, as I've said multiple times, all we want to do is take the weight off of your shoulders, the administrative burden, and give you time to do what you love. So definitely a fun service and support to give.
Yeah. So as small business owners are listening to this or watching this, they're probably thinking, my business is in a shoebox. My business is, 90% of it's in my head, and other 10% is in a box, and there may be stuff in my purse, and there may be stuff on the kitchen table, and my dog ate something, and my kids moved on the rest. So what type of systems or platforms or things, processes should business owners that are looking to use a service like yours, what should they already have in place?
I think, great question. I think that if you are moving on to a new service and you are implementing a system and putting your trust in a vendor, they will take it from there. I think that having an idea of how much you pay your employees, the frequency, the banking information, all of that, which seems obvious, but if you have all of that and then goals in mind, what we do is you don't need everything perfectly buttoned up. We take that and we meet you where you are. And part of my job is to help these organizations and see what's missing, organize what's missing, get everything into a better system. And I just think the one ask I would have is be open to support and be willing to standardize these processes. Be willing to change what's working and not working. I just think having a good understanding of where you want to be 10 years, 5 years, a year down the road, and then obviously have your business like bank account information, employee information, and all of that standard information.
Gotcha. Yeah. As we're looking at this and we're thinking, people are probably thinking, I would love to do this, but my DIY is, I'm DIYing over here. What are some warning signs, or what are some signs that this is probably not working for you anymore? Besides the fact, as soon as you start your DIY journey, you're overwhelmed. But as people are continuing to work and do, I'm sure things start to fall apart. So what would you say are some warning signs or some signs that this might not be working, or my business might be growing too large for me to continue doing it this way?
For sure. I think when business owners start missing deadlines, or if they get hit with any fines or fees, any penalties, or if they just find themselves spending hours a week trying to fix mistakes, trying to remain in compliance, there's definitely a few warning signs that show that you are outgrowing your DIY. And I know I'm not based in North Carolina, but I like to say New York is a very employee-friendly state, not as much as an employer-friendly state, which just basically means the burden falls on the business owner at the end of the day. And sometimes staying compliant with these DIY in-house solutions makes it so much harder to run your business. And I like to say, if you're Googling answers or pulling spreadsheets or agreements off of Google, you do need to, it might need some time to ask for some help. I just think it's so hard with everything going on, changing regulations, legislation, that it's so nice to have someone in your corner, just to make sure that everything's running smoothly.
Yeah. Now, if someone were to start working with you, what type of support can they expect up front? Like, do you help take that shoebox and work through it, or is it like a plug and play situation where they kind of have to figure it out?
Of course, I am a business owner's one-on-one point of contact. Locally, I will go to that business and get everything set up for them. So usually it starts with a demo of the system to get them familiar. And then I'm able to help them add employees. And if they have any HR features, we'll walk right through. I also always tell all of my clients, like, I am a call, I am a Zoom, I am an email or a drive away. But after kind of that initial stage, I like to take some time to let them play with the system. I want them to be able to be confident in it. And I think, in my opinion, there have been a few times that I have helped business owners and then they've kind of fallen off the face of the earth because they see it as a burden to ask me questions and ask for help. That's never the case. I never want that to be the case. But I do think that after we have that initial kind of month of getting used to everything and leaning on each other, that's when I kind of let the business owner do it themselves and plug and play. Not really do it themselves, but plug and play and, get used to the system. But always I am there. Don't have to call into 1-800. Don't have to sit on long holds. And I think that is definitely something that a lot of business owners see is super beneficial these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're located in New York. Do you work with business owners across the nation or okay.
Yes.
So
of course.
would you if someone were in North Carolina or Georgia, would you come to them or would it be a virtual type situation?
So I wish I could be flying around the 50 states. That would be so amazing. But since I am local in New York and my office is in Brooklyn, it would have to be virtual. What's so great is there are ADP representatives in, I want to say, all 50 states. I start with the initial onboarding and get them set up, and then refer them over to a local representative if they have any help in that term. But we are a huge company, but I have connections everywhere. So definitely don't want that to be a cause of concern.
Now, you're in this field every day, and we all know ADP, especially if you have worked for a company that uses it on the larger end. And we know that you guys are cutting edge, and you mentioned AI. What trends do you see in how small businesses are managing their teams, their benefits, their compliance, and all of that in the market today?
Of course. Everyone knows this. We are all digital. There's been a huge digital shift. As you mentioned, AI, but these cell phones that probably my cell phone usage is killing me. But I think that has become a huge trend, is not only things being digital and convenient, but things being in one place. So that's what a lot of business owners are wanting to have. So a solution that has payroll, HR, compliance, benefits, all of that in one place. So love when I hear that, because that's exactly what we offer. Also, prioritizing employee retention is huge. I always like to say employees either cost you money or make you money. And I don't think when I went and got into this industry, realized how expensive it is to hire and then also, unfortunately, terminate employees. It's huge. It's so expensive. So I think prioritizing employee retention has also been a huge trend. If we're offering a retirement plan or, health benefits, those are two ways that people obviously retain and retain top talent, but also creating a good environment, being able to offer raises and celebrate benchmarks. And I do think that has become a huge trend as well. And then I would say the third thing that I find I interact with or hear about the most is compliance. With everything changing in regulations and industry and the economy, a lot more business owners are focused on staying compliant, being more proactive instead of reactive. So yeah, I would say retaining employees, compliance, and then having an all-in-one solution are the top three things.
Okay. Now, your solution, is it something that people have to access from their computers, or can they access the system if they need to do something on the fly from their phone, things like that?
Yes, so we do have a phone and a website version. The phone, both employees and employers have their own app. Same with the computer. So our slogan is run fast, run human, run ADP. The basis of it is you can run payroll from wherever you are on the go. And we recognize that business owners don't always have the time to sit in front of a computer. Sometimes it's, you have to do it while you're in line at the grocery store, or, you're sitting at the doctor's office. So definitely convenient to have both app and computer.
Okay. And can you give other people access, like your CPA, access to a platform like this so that they can assist you with that tax financial side of things?
Exactly.
Okay.
So we do have a platform. It's called Accountant Connect.
Okay.
So it was made by accountants for accountants, but I have financial advisors and COIs on there, not just CPAs.
Okay.
But what makes it so special is it's just a platform designated for them. So once you onboard a client, the CPA has access to that client's account.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. So, in summary, this type of platform really is a game changer for businesses of all sizes, including us teeny tiny little solopreneurs and two-man band type situations. Just to kind of summarize, is there anything that you think small business owners are right now getting wrong when it comes to how they're handling their HR and their compliance processes in their business that your platform could solve?
I think that not necessarily wrong, but the in-house do-it-yourself systems, they're not the best. And they take up so much time. There's room for human error. And I think it seems like the easiest choice when you're starting a business. Just let me just do it. Let me just get it done. It's my business. I know what's going on. Let me just do it. And I get it. I totally get it. It's hard. It's intimidating. Change is the biggest thing that humans hate is change. They hate being uncomfortable. So I totally get it. But if there are systems out there that are going to help you, take it. Simple as that. Take it. Take advantage of what you can be taking advantage of, and go a little bit out of your comfort zone. I know that sounds cheesy, but be trusting. And I think you don't need to be doing it yourself. You don't need to be taking on the burden. You don't need to be slaving away for days trying to calculate payroll for 8 employees. You do not need to be doing that. So I would say it's not necessarily wrong. It's just there are easier and better options out there.
Yeah. And I totally agree. My audience has heard me say it before. There are certain things that you don't play with. Uncle Sam and other people's money. Don't do it. So if you are in a position where you can begin implementing assistance with setting up your systems, running certain parts of your business, it's imperative that you move into that next level. And I know for some that are listening, they're like, oh my God, I'm barely rubbing 2 pennies together. that's completely fine. But
Mhm.
it is a mentality that you will eventually have to get into, because I believe that my listeners are the kind of go-getters that are going to make it to whatever level they achieve, want to achieve. And so you can't think that you're always going to be doing this alone, or
Mhm.
where you are is where you'll always be. You're going to be moving forward. And as you move forward, you have to think about what vendors, what systems, what services, what platforms are out there to assist you, so that that can take some of the pressure off, and you can get back to focusing on the whole reason why you started this business in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You said it perfectly.
Lucy, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This has been amazing and extremely eye-opening for me. I I got some validation. It's rare that large companies will validate the plight of small business. So thank you for that validation. People do see that we have a lot of hats on, and the head that wears the crown is struggling. So I
Yeah.
thank you for coming on and sharing all of this. How can people get in touch with you if they are interested?
Of course, of course. So I am grateful and lucky to have Jessica now on my corner, my side of things. So you always are welcome to reach out to her personally, and she will connect us both. I also, you can reach me via email, lucy.smith@adp.com. But I appreciate this so much, and I am so excited to have done this. It was so fun. So thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Yes, I will take all of your information. I will put it in the show notes and in the description of the video. For those of you that don't know, we have transitioned from an audio only podcast to a video podcast. So if you would love to see our lovely faces, please come on over to YouTube and check us out, or continue to listen to us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Again, Lucy, thank you so much. And I will see all of y'all next week.
Thank you, Jessica.